name is Laura Brouwer. I'm a classical violinist living in Holland and I help violin players overcome their technical struggles and express themselves in music by teaching them all about bowing technique. And in this video I'm going to cover fast string crossings like you find in Zeitz Concerto number 5. A student concerto that a lot of you might play, specifically bar 87 and 88, so those fast string crossings between the A string and the E string. I'll break down how you can practice them and how you can get them up to speed. There is a rule in violin playing that says that the faster you play, the smaller the movement should be and the less of your arm you should move. So for example, if you play a legato piece and you were playing for a while on one string, then you go to the other string, then you really do this with your upper arm like you learned in the beginning. And as this is quite a beginner, maybe intermediate, at least first position piece, a lot of people are used to do string crossings like this. But then when you try to speed that up, then it becomes really sloppy. So then you get something like that. So what you must learn for this piece is to do the string crossings with your wrist and your fingers. So make the movement as small as possible. Not this, but this. So you can play this while almost keeping your upper arm still. And you might think this is a complex motion, but actually we do it in daily life. For example, when stirring in a cup of tea. You don't do this, don't you? You do this if you have a big pan of soup or something. But you do this if you just stir a teacup. Same is for bowing. So if you have large and slow movement, you can use your whole arm to have enough weight and to be able to have enough motion anyway. But if you have fast and small movements, it's just this. So practice this perhaps and then move to circles. So really make sure that you loosen up your wrist and your fingers. Well, this is of course a lot easier if you do it separately or with a teaspoon than that you have to do it while holding the bow. So first we practice it slowly with a sort of double stop in between, because the double stop really allows you to learn where the strings are. You can do a string crossing from the A to the E string while doing this and really diving into that C shape of your violin. But actually they are very close together. So you don't need to make a large movement. When that works, you can do slurred string crossings. And make the string crossings as small as you possibly can. Now you're able to make very small string crossings with your wrist and your fingers. Now let's practice that on open strings. And this part of the Zeitz Concerto, a lot of players play it here and then it's quite easy. Because then you have this Colombian square. You see, your arm is in a very natural position, so you might want to start with that. And now you need to practice the left hand fingers. Let's do that first in double stops. It's important to do this very slowly and to carefully listen if the notes are really in tune and really match that open E string. You can also move to bar number 89 and already practice that. And that's also a step. So now we've learned a couple of things. We have learned small string crossings, we've learned to do string crossings with the wrist and the fingers, and we got the intonation right. So now it's time to put it together. Do it slowly, but still remind yourself to make small movements and to not use your upper arm for the string crossings. You have difficulty speeding it up gradually, then you can go back to the previous steps, because it can be the case that perhaps some technique didn't sink in yet. And an alternative is to practice it with slurs and rhythmical variations. And if you do these steps for a while, then you can move to Now, most teachers teach to do this in the upper half, but I on the other hand see that there are actually spiccato notes, so you might want to do them in spiccato spot, but you don't have to do that to play this piece, because most students, when they play this first position piece, they have no idea to do spiccato. So instead you can just make the notes a little bit shorter, that you don't go, but that you make them a little bit. But if you do the same thing and you move closer to the frog, then your bow automatically starts jumping. So it's not really hard to achieve this. Then a last thing in this little piece of music, only these 2 bars, is the crescendo, of course. Well, that's a lot easier if you're playing it with a détaché in the upper half. So you just start with little pressure on your bow, short bow strokes, and increase the pressure and make the bow strokes slightly longer. If you're doing it in spiccato, then it can be a little bit harder. You can experiment pivoting your bow a little bit. So your spiccato naturally sounds softer if you pivot your bow in the direction of the scroll. And what you can also influence is with the weight of your bow arm, that you first make very low jumps. And that you increase the weight while playing. So go through these steps step by step. Don't rush through them. It might need some weeks or maybe even months to really settle, but then you can do fast string crossings, which is really useful and which you will encounter a lot in pieces, solo pieces as well as orchestra pieces. So working on this is really useful. Also for the rest of this concerto we've only talked about 2 bars. Well, happy practicing! I hope this is useful. Please share in the comments below what practice tip has helped you most, because that really helps me create future videos. If you like this video, then you know what to do. Like it and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye bye!